Declan, you're very welcome.
Well, thanks a million, Dermot. I hear there's a Keely on here tonight.
There is surely.
Any chance of a seat?
Ah, there is. There's a couple of boys here already now, so you'll have to squeeze yourself in.
No bother. Well, anyway, I came into storytelling through a wee cottage outside Oma in Ferna. Did you ever hear of a man called Owen Smith? Well, Owen had a cottage. Not like this, it was a wee small toot of a thing. But this is a lovely two-storied house. Who owned the house, or could you tell us a bit about it?
There was a wee man, he was wee Neil, was his name. But there's a wee story about Neil. This is the sort of character he was. He wouldn't want to make a fuss, this boy, but there was a wee pub in Plum Bridge, and he went down to the Plum Bridge anyway. We called it the Plum. But he went into the Plum anyway, and he went into Petey Pete's pub, Pete McCullough's. And there was a wee Nara pub, and Petey Pete was renovating. He was, there was a big door at the back and a big padlock and all. Health and safety and all was kicking in that time, you know, in around the 80s. And you know, they had a bit of bar, you know, you had to push the bar and try and get out, get fire. So there were 5 or 6 workmen in renovating, with plastering the walls and putting in a new toilet and whatnot, and putting a new door. Neil came in now in the middle of the day and he says, "Any pie?" Pete says, Pete says, "Pie surely. Do you want a pie?" "Aye, ordinary pie." Neil says, "Aye, an ordinary pie, sure." Put the pie in the microwave, and the microwave was only a new thing that time. Put the pie in the microwave, and Neil says, "Throw a pint on there for me 2 pint of Guinness." So the thing went ping, and Neil got the pie in front of him, got the Guinness set, and he says, "Pete, have you any salt? Mustard?" Pete, "Salt and mustard." I mind Neil to our house years ago when he helped my father. He would put it on the mustard. He put it on like jam. You'd swear it was bread he was buttering. He put it on like jam. So he laid the pie anyway with mustard, and he started eating. And Pete, he would went in 3 or 4 times a week, and Pete knew him. Pete was working, trying to officiate with workmen and whatnot, and he was looking down. He says, "You alright, Neil?" Aye, Neil was eating away. "I'm alright, I'm alright." And take a big swallow of the pint, you know. Pete says, "Are you sure you're alright, Neil?" "Ah, I'm alright, I'm alright." And he ate away. Half an hour passed anyway, and the workmen, they went on home. And says, "Pete, another pint there." Pete came over and he says, "Are you sure you're alright, Neil? Why quiet? Not like you to be so quiet, you know." I didn't like to say, Pete, but that pie you gave me, that was an apple pie.
And that's a true story.
That's a true story.
Oh, of course. The best stories are all true.
Oh, right. When I boy up the old Barney Daniel, he was Rogers with the man he's writing there. But Barney, he was out about Glenlarkin, it was a great place for potting. And we were dancing up in Cranach, it was the 17th of March. And Barney come in, and I don't know damn what happened to him anyway, but sometime when the dance was over, he was lying in the ditch and he was touches. So a lot of boys, they were all on a lot of the potting, but we carried them up to the house anyway, and there was a doctor, Muldoon and Gorty, and there was 3 old brothers and Joe happened to be there, and some of them says, "Let us send for Muldoon. Much was that going to cost? $5? Oh, because Joe says he's not worth $5. Somebody said, it'll cost more to bury him than $5. But anyway, they had to go to the bishop. Father O'Connor was here at the time, and he chiseled him. But Barney wasn't as soft as people thought. And he says, "Now, you better give me something, your lordship." He said, "If you want to go home for an unbeliever, I was here." That was the last man that I had that had to go to the bishop.
Aye, because it was rife at one stage.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, it was dangerous stuff.
I mind me father saying the sow was a precious thing.
Oh,
You know,
because the sow meant the money.
They took the sow into the house.
Oh, Paddy Pals has always done that.
And they took the sow into the house, and there was this boy, and he was going to a wedding. I don't know his name, but I was a local man now. I mind my father telling me, and he was going to a wedding, but he sent a young fella to look about the sow. He says, "You watch that sow, and she's a bad devil.
Right.
I'm going to this wedding, I'll be back in a couple of hours." So he went away anyway, and he came back, and the young fella had got the Guinness, and he was well stocious. And he came in anyway, and he looked, "Man, did you not see what's going on? The sow was turning round, and every time she'd have a wee pig, she would turn round and she would eat it. And she would throw it down her apple." The boy said, you're under God, man, you don't see what she's doing." The boy said, that wee pig's in and out all night.
An old boy Tom McNamara, he lived beside Donald. And done with one of them railroad boys who had a cow calving and the calf was taken into the fire to dry. But McNamara would come to us always, the war was going on this time, and he would always come to us to get the 9 o'clock news, were now wireless now. And he spoke, Dan, but he says, I had Donald in tea. And he says, it tells me the cow's calved. My father says, how do you know? Well, I'm damn, but he says, there were that many slimes on him. He says, I didn't know whether it was him or the cow calf. Instead of the calf was born, he just run another into the fire, he got it dried. He never went, and my father had to tell McNamara. Them was the sort of boys was about years ago.
But there was an old man, you'd probably mind him. I mind him as a young fella. It was Pete Owen.
Oh,
You mind Pete?
right?
Well, Pete had a name for everybody in the Glen.
Yeah,
He had, like the man, there was a man next door, they called him
the golf.
the Goth.
Aye.
And now, Oil McCord had a field up, just, you could just see it, that old bush wasn't on the road, up there. And it was, he spent 20 years draining it. And they called the field the Four Holes. You suppose you mean it. And Pete came into my father's house one time and he says, World War III, Dan, World War III. Oh, definitely World War III. And he just said to your head, Pete, what's wrong? World War III. The Goths in the trenches. That meant he was up draining.
Oh,
He was
aye.
up draining with a spade.
There was a boy down in Barn, that's why they call him Mickey Jimmy, and he had a car the same as there was a boy who used to come around inspecting pretties. He would have got a grant or some side on these pretties. And he called Mickey Jimmy McCord.
Aye.
God, I seen McCord today, It was Patsy, the car, he was going to Cookstown one day, he was gathering bags. And he said to Pete, will you go for a run? Oh, where are you going? I'm going to Cookstown. No, down hardly far enough, he says. He was always on swine for to get a sale away some boy, Pete.
I'm sure Pete's brother, was it Patsy? He'd be very tight with money.
I would think so.
John Peter.
Patsy got a lift to my father one time. And up to him and they thought they were stopping gorging and get a bite to eat. And Patsy said, I'll buy. You took me around home, I'll pay. So Daddy, he went into the cafe and he says, tea, bread, butter and an egg. Patsy jumps up, oh, no egg. He didn't want to pay for the egg.
So maybe it's time for a tune. Seamus, do you know the Blackbird?
That's right, anyway.
Hey, would you give us a rattle of it? Gentlemen, the crack has been mighty. So, until we meet again,
Good luck. See you later.
Alright,
Thank God he's away, we can get the bed.